You neutered my cat? How dare you!
r/anti-cats.
Hey there, Mr. Redder here. And the intelligent one, me. Welcome back to another episode of Reddit Podcast Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Karen lets her cat roam the neighborhood, so I had him neutered. I run a TNR program for feral cats. Non-profit, I catch all cats, then I get them the medical attention that they need myself out of my own pocket. I love helping them. A lot of the cats are not able to be rehomed, so I fix them and release them. Get them their shots and hope for the best. I'm not a large-scale operation. Recently, I was called to an area overrun with orange cats. They were everywhere, and I mostly ended up handing it over to the professionals. I did, however, manage to grab 3 very sweet cats. 2 were terrified, skinny, looked like they had seen a few fights, but were overall friendly. The third one was a little gent. He was tubby, well-groomed, fish-patterned collar, the works. My plan was to find his parents and drop him off with a warning to keep him in due to the large amount of traps being set. Then the little guy sprayed the inside of my card to the max. So apparently he wasn't fixed. I couldn't really tell, long hair, and assumed he was, so I left my covers off. Big mistake. I debated taking him home or taking him to get neutered with the rest. He was an indoor/outdoor cat, indicated by his collar tag, and with so many strays, I'm certain some were carrying his genetics. Ultimately, I took him with me and got him neutered. No chip, so I called the number on his tag and informed them where their cat was and gave them time slots to pick him up or to have him dropped off. The owners went ballistic. They were going off on me and came to collect their cat not 20 minutes later. They called me a cat thief, blamed me for their kid having nightmares, scared over their cat going missing. I tried to explain that he needed to be fixed if he was going to be outside, but they didn't want to know. They said I should have called immediately, regardless. I spoke to my rescue friend who said I was in the wrong. Even though we know we're technically in the right, we didn't have the legal ground to do that, and it wasn't my decision to make. I did apologize, but I have blocked their numbers. The mom is flaming me on Facebook and DMing people I know. I have a duty to take care of stray cats. Me knowing an unneutered male was roaming free and not doing anything about it was a concern for said stray cats. Things are still tense between my rescue buddy and I don't completely disagree. I know I crossed a line, even if it was for the greater good. People are finding out and taking sides, so I'm not sure who to really believe was right here. So, am I the jerk? You're the jerk. You did steal their cat, and you made a superbly arrogant decision to have him neutered without the owner's permission. You can judge them all you want for letting their cat outside, but the first thing you should have done was to call the cat's owners and ask, "Hey, I found your cat. Did you know he was outside?" That's the basic due diligence right here. How a vet decided to neuter the cat means you must have taken off the collar and obscured the owner's information, or they would not have done it without your permission. You just made yourself very actionable legally. You don't know if they were planning to breed the cat and he just happened to get out. OP. I spoke to my vet. She's a TNR vet. She neuters and moves on. There was no address on the collar, so my vet said it was fine. I don't know if she tried to call the owners or not, though. I personally don't condone the breeding of cats when we have so many dying, literally, for homes. Not 3 weeks ago, I dropped off at least 30 kittens and a couple pregnant mamas at a rescue. Maybe 10 will be adopted. The rest will be put down. It's horrible. I don't really care if they had plans to breed, truthfully. Well, then you shouldn't care if they sue you, I guess, since you feel you're completely in the right and justified, right? I understand that the cat overpopulation problem is horrible. I'm a cat owner myself. My problem is that you stole someone else's pet. There is zero justification for that. And if the vet is that careless, they're leaving themselves open to being sued as well. You should have the burden of calling the owner before deciding to permanently alter their pet. Everyone sucks here. The owners for letting an intact pet outside unsupervised to breed, and you for having a surgical medical procedure done to an animal that you knew had owners without the owner's permission. Regardless of the morality of allowing pets to contribute to the stray population, for which the owner is a jerk, making medical decisions for someone else's pet makes you a massive jerk. Everyone sucks. A free-roaming cat is a feral cat. You're not the jerk. Thank you for your service. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or the cat's owners? Please let us know. I know we're gonna lose some subscribers for this, but it needs to be said. If you're stupid enough to let your unneutered cat roam the neighborhood and have kittens everywhere that are all gonna be strays, you don't even deserve to have a pet. Don't add me. Am I the jerk for cooking while my roommate's girlfriend was here and offering her some? I, 21 male, am from the South. I grew up in New Orleans in Texas. My mom runs a catering business and the majority of clients were either at home in Louisiana or in Texas. I add this to say that I grew up cooking and helping my mom cook for the business. I was frying chicken and catfish when I could reach the stove and making gumbo and buttermilk biscuits at a very young age. I'm currently in culinary school right now. I've lived in a rented house on the East Coast with my roommate, 22 male, for a year and a half. He's not a friend or anything, we just linked up because we both needed roommates in the area. He's good to live with and we watch shows and movies together. We hang out and go out for drinks sometimes. I always make friends easy because of being from the South and doing customer service related things when I was a kid. I know how to talk and charm and listen to folks despite being naturally more of an introverted person. My roommate has been seeing his girlfriend, who's 20, for 6 months. I've met her before and I've seen her in passing. Roommate and his girlfriend had a 2-week break from school things. She still lives at her parents', so she decided to stay here the whole 2 weeks. I was just doing things as I normally would. It got weird at first when I was about to go mow the lawn and the roommate stopped me and said he wanted to mow. I usually always mow. A couple of days later, I was outside washing my car. I asked both of them if they wanted to do theirs. She looked like she was going to agree, but he looked at her angrily, so they declined. I cook pretty frequently at home as well and usually let my roommate have some. So anytime I'd make some, I would say that they could have some and this would get him upset. Weeks prior, when she was here and we were all talking, she mentioned this specific kind of cheesecake that she really likes. So I made it and sent out a group text that everyone could have some. My roommate got upset. I don't see anything as overstepping a boundary, as this is how I treat him and all of our guests. The other day, he told me how annoying it was to hear his girlfriend talk about how good your roommate's fresh-baked bread is. I'm not trying to make him look bad or anything. This is simply how I was raised. If I bake 2 loaves of bread, I'm gonna leave it out for the rest of the house to eat. Edit. The cheesecake is just common courtesy type thing to me. When his parents came over, I made pound cake because they like it. If a guest is coming, you get or make what they like. Nothing odd about picking up their favorite chips or making some tea when guests arrive, just how I was raised. Edit. Wow, this is blown up. Just want to say we generally have a good roommate relationship. We're not best friends, but it's friendly enough. The only change has been when his girlfriend is here. So, no, I'm not looking for new roommates to be adopted or to move out, but thanks. Here's some more things that upset him. I went to the grocery store and asked if anyone needed anything. I was frying chicken and I offered the first and best pieces to them straight out of the oil. I changed the oil to my own car. I used a smoker in the backyard to make brisket. I grill and smoke in the backyard and needed a piece of wood cut in a certain way to hold something up. I cut and nailed some wood together in the garage. Feels like I can't even exist while she's here. Update. A lot of people wanted an update. I wanted to see my roommate in a more positive light. I tend to try to see the best in people, but reading the replies and his recent actions have really opened my eyes. I never took him too seriously because he's a pretty harmless little guy in my perspective. There is a big difference in how he lashes out at me compared to his girlfriend. He's gotten big tough with me in text form, but only mildly upset when I see him in person. I have taken a step back and looked at anything I could have done to provoke him, not excusing his behavior. And while I don't believe I'm in the wrong for being hospitable and a hosting guest, if a 75-year-old man were staying with us, I would treat him the same as I've treated his girlfriend. I do realize that he's not from the South. I was told by others in school that women outside the South don't enjoy being called ma'am. However, I've never seen a lady get angry if I did call her ma'am up here. I call women of all ages dear or darling, and I could see how that could be seen as flirtatious, even though it's just part of how I speak. Now that he knows I've seen him in his true form, he doesn't even try to act the way he did before. I sent his girlfriend screenshots of the texts he sent and told her the things that he said. I'm not sure if she's leaving or staying, but I've let her know and told her to let me know if she needs any help. I don't plan on moving anytime soon, as I enjoy having room for a grill and a smoker and a garage. He told me he's looking for new places to live and will potentially go back to his parents. I make enough working at a restaurant to afford the rent alone. I would like more going into savings, but I'm not worried financially for the time being. I'm flattered and overwhelmed by all the positive replies. About 100 of you told me to thank my mom, so I sure will. I grew up working in hospitality with my mom and siblings. My dad is the one that instilled respect in me. He never felt emasculated, even when my mom's business ended up making more than he does. They just save their money from their jobs and go on vacation a lot. Final edit. I tend to see the good and the best in people, so I wasn't seeing him as being very insecure and was trying to look at this in a more positive light. But he just texted me and said that I greet his girlfriend in too kind of a way, and it's annoying that I say, "Be safe," when she leaves the house. I say this to him and everyone when they tell me that they're going somewhere. He sent me a long text detailing it's bad that I look her in the eyes when she's talking to me. Maybe it's time for a new roommate. Not the jerk. You are raising a bar he doesn't want raised by getting things done. He wants to pretend he's a better partner than he is. He also doesn't want you to highlight things he isn't interested in doing. In a way, you are unintentionally showing that he isn't the best partner material around. Keep doing as you are. He's being ridiculous. So he's okay with you feeding him, but has a problem when you offer to feed his girlfriend who just happens to be in the house? It's not like you only cook when she's there. Why? Is he afraid you're gonna steal her with food? Is he afraid she's only hanging out with him because you feed her? Ask roommate what the problem is and then stop doing what he doesn't like. If that means not feeding her, then stop feeding him too. You sound like a great roommate. You mow and offer to wash their cars? Who does that? You're like Southern hospitality supersized. Would I be the jerk to expect my husband to accommodate a post-pregnancy confinement? So I, 30 female, am giving birth soon, and we have this thing where I'm from, which is basically post-pregnancy recovery. What we do is stay in bed and try to recover the physical and mental toll pregnancy did on our body. So I've moved to my husband's country, and it's not a widely done thing here apparently, and I've already taken 2 months off of work. I've talked to my husband about this, but he thinks it's very unnecessary, especially since I need someone to take care of me and the baby during the period. So here's why I think it's feasible. 1. We make really good money, so it's not going to make a big dent in our financial account. 2. I can just have my parents take care of me. 3. My company has really good employee benefits, so even if I take that extra month off, it will still be under parental leave. 4. My state has parental leave for guys too, so my husband can also stay home to spend more time with our daughter and me. But my husband was really against it, and I do want to acknowledge it might be very troublesome to extend my parents' visa. So would I be the jerk if I bring up the topic again? He's white and American with Irish descent if that matters. Edit. I tried talking about it before, but it was shut down, and I thought it was fine and I could go without one. But my pregnancy wasn't smooth after 6-month mark, and instead of natural birth, we are now going C-section, and a lot of stuff happened, especially within the last few weeks. So now I'm pretty adamant about getting this 1 extra month of rest. To clarify, when I say confinement, I don't mean actually just staying in the bed. Of course I can actually move around, and yoga is probably going to be in my routine. But confinement as in I avoid going out, I avoid doing strenuous activity, and to rest more. And yes, per my doctor's recommendations, she wants me to rest for at least a month. Hi, husband here. Would like to say this has opened up my viewpoint. Was fed with a very skewed version of childbirth. We will be keeping discussions private from here. Thank you for the inputs. Update. I'm doing the confinement. My parents will come over, but will be living in hotels until the 3rd week after my delivery, since my husband will be overseas. I appreciate all of your comments and concerns. My parents will be meeting their grandkiddos. Also, for clarification, my parents aren't here yet. I meant to extend visa as in the usual visa only allows 30 days. We're trying to extend it to those short-term stay visa. Not the jerk. When your husband actually delivers, then he'll have a say. Unfortunately, he's not delivering on being a supportive spouse to his pregnant wife. Not the jerk. America is the most backwards when it comes to maternal care, and your husband is a product of that culture. What they, and everywhere, should do is more like what you're used to from home. When you've grown an entire human, then pushed it out at great pain and potentially lifetime difficulties, you deserve to rest as much as you feel you need. That time should be just you and the baby getting to know each other and your new routines. Do what you need to do, mama. You have earned it. Am I the jerk for eating a prepped meal in my car before going into a restaurant with my girlfriend because of my strict diet? Over the last couple of years, I've lost nearly 80 pounds through extreme dedication to dieting and exercise. It's been a life-changing journey for me. The journey started when my doctors warned me about my poor cardiovascular health because of my unhealthy eating habits and lifestyle. With 30 right around the corner, I couldn't keep being the man I was before. It was a significant wake-up call. I tried immediately just focusing on going hard in the gym, but I tried lifting weights without eating properly and pretty much fried my CNS during deadlifts, causing me to pass out at the gym. It really scared me. Since then, I've taken my health incredibly seriously. I prep all of my meals, and they're calculated to meet my nutritional needs for the day and keep a caloric deficit to have me on track for losing weight. I've avoided going out to eat at all costs, as it feels like a slippery slope back into my old habits. For me, restaurants are like relapsing. One bite of a cheesesteak egg roll, and I'm buying Oreos on the way home and falling off the wagon. My girlfriend has been supportive of my health journey but hasn't joined me. She still cooks and eats as she did before, which is a lot of food covered in fats and sugars with a lot of calories. I appreciate her cooking, but I can't eat most of the meals that she makes. It's been a bit of a strain on our relationship, but we've managed. So, boom. The conflict arose on our anniversary last month. She wanted to go out to a fancy restaurant to celebrate, and I wanted to make the night special as well, and I agreed to go. I even made sure I had calories left over to have drinks with her. However, I didn't want to break my diet and decided to bring a prepped meal to eat in the car before we went in. She discovered what I was doing and got really upset. She called me a jerk for not putting aside my diet for one night, saying I cared more about my food intake than about our special day. She said that I was being selfish and that I should have been more considerate of her feelings since it's our anniversary. I feel conflicted. On one hand, I understand where she's coming from, and I didn't mean to upset her. On the other hand, I've worked really hard to improve my health, and I'm scared of falling back into my old habits. Am I the jerk for sticking to my diet, even on our anniversary? Edit. I'm 5'4" and 297 pounds currently. Sorry, but you're the jerk. This is your responsibility to address, man. You have an extremely unhealthy relationship with food you need to work on, probably with a professional. I get this started for the right reasons, but you have wildly overcorrected, and it seems like you're pretty firmly in disorder territory. Your significant other has been supportive and literally wanted one dinner out with you for your anniversary. You shouldn't be in a relationship if you can't do this for her. It's the bare minimum stuff. Your mental health is important, so take care of it. I hope you do, because what you are describing is not sustainable or normal, and it won't end well. Edit. Please stop flooding this post with your ignorant straw man arguments that this is equivalent to asking an alcoholic or an addict to indulge in their vice. It is simply not comparable. You're not blowing anybody's mind, and you're not coming across as some intelligent maverick. Food is necessary to live. Food is not good or evil. For alcoholics and addicts, the only true solution to healing is abstinence. This is not the case with food. You need to eat, and OP's obsession with control over his diet is simply not sustainable. It's not normal or okay to not be able to eat at a restaurant for one singular meal. Kudos to him for making the change, but he's gone too far when it has affected his life to this degree. He needs legitimate help if he can't relinquish control of his food intake enough to enjoy a single meal for a special occasion at a restaurant, which could be healthy, without fear of spiraling into a binge-eating hole where he loses all sense of self and eats himself into oblivion. He promised his significant other a date night at a restaurant, and he shocked her with a brown bag meal in front of the restaurant so he could watch her eat and drink a cocktail. This is not okay behavior as a partner, which is why he is the jerk. If he can't handle that, he should be single. Stop with the ridiculous comparisons to her asking him to drink as an alcoholic. You are so wildly off base it's embarrassing. Believe it or not, an eating disorder is harmful even if you're overweight. Nobody thinks you're some shredded Greek god for thinking otherwise. You're the jerk to yourself more than anything. You have an extremely unhealthy relationship with food. You think your diet is helping you, but it sounds more like you have a problem. One nice meal in years of taking care of yourself will not disrupt your diet. If it would, then you are very unhealthy mentally. Do you go to a therapist or a dietitian? I hear you, but you're the jerk. I lost 60 pounds myself this year and plan on more, so I do understand your dedication and the strict calorie counting. However, special days are special for a reason. Let's say the entire meal with a drink came to 3,500 calories. You and I both know that's equivalent to 1 pound of body fat. Those calories might set you back and take 2 weeks to get back on track, but it's worth it to avoid this. Sorry, but you're the jerk here. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or his girlfriend? Please let us know. OP set a goal, and now he's staying dedicated to that goal to accomplish it. He's not letting anything knock him off of his path, and he's continuing to succeed. I'm not surprised in the least that the people on Reddit are knocking him for that. Am I the jerk for sending our son away after he revealed to his sister's friends that she has dentures? My husband and I have a 14-year-old daughter and a 16-year-old son. When our daughter was 8, she developed a very rare mouth infection that just absolutely devastated her teeth and gums. She ended up losing all of her teeth in both sets and had to have some corrective work done, just so she could have regular dentures. Obviously, this was a horrible time for her, and she's still in therapy to help cope to this day. Our daughter is understandably very self-conscious about this. None of her friends knew about them. In fact, nobody besides her doctor and dentist know outside of the family. She doesn't want people to know. She's very worried about people finding out and won't even take her teeth out in front of us. She's worried someone will see. Her and her brother had a good relationship until he did what he did last week. He somehow recorded her taking out her teeth without her noticing and then showed all of her friends when they were over. Not only have they all turned on her, but half the school is teasing her nonstop. She even had to change her phone number because dozens of kids were texting her the most vile things imaginable. I've never been more ashamed of one of my kids until that moment. I don't know where we went wrong raising him, but apparently he thought it would be funny. After I kicked out her friends who were mocking her and helped her through a panic attack, I called my father to pick him up and told him to pack a bag and get out. He's been staying with my parents 2 towns over. They didn't know what happened until 2 days ago. That came up because driving him to school was becoming a hassle and they wanted to know what was up. When I explained, they were disgusted, but still wanted to know when they could bring him home. I asked them if they'd take care of registering him for school in their town, and they agreed, but were shocked. My husband and I talked, and we just cannot have him here. His sister hates him. We're so ashamed we can't even think of calling him. It sounds awful, but I don't think our relationship can recover from this, and maybe this is what he needs. No friends, no family, aside from his grandparents, having to start over might just set him straight. My parents are willing to keep him until he's 18, but I think we're too emotionally charged to be making this decision now. What he did was vile, and he deserves a harsh punishment for what he did. However, I don't think the punishment issued fits the crime. You can't just throw your son away, and you can come back from this. It will take a lot of therapy for all of you, but it can happen. I honestly don't know how to judge this post though. Everyone sucks here. I love that you have your daughter's back and apply serious consequences for your son. What I don't love is that you didn't mention how he reacted to the aftermath of what he has done and the consequences. I also think it's an overreaction to permanently disown your son and cut him out from your life. He's still your son. Yes, terrible mistake, but still a minor and still your son. You should be working with him and not just being like this. So yes, let him live with his grandparents, but work on a way to rebuild your own, not your daughter's, relationship with him. Call. Let him do volunteer work. Something. Am I the jerk for telling my sister she's inconsiderate for only providing vegan options at our wedding? I, 30 female, and my sister, who's 32, have an okay relationship. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. She met a guy named Riley, who's 33, and they hit it off so well that he proposed to her 3 months after they started dating. Our parents thought it was too soon, but they left them alone because they're grown and can make their own decisions. Anyway, my sister and Riley have decided to go vegan. Cool, I don't really care. Only issue I have is that they tried to incorporate it into nearly every conversation we have. They have somewhat boring personalities, so I guess they needed something to make their personality about, but it's okay. I was invited to their wedding, and not gonna lie, I had to think about it for a bit because I'm not too big on social gatherings, but it was my sister, so I decided to go. At the wedding, I had a fairly good time. Wasn't too bad. Got to talk to some new people and get out of my comfort zone a bit. The fun came to a complete stop when it was time to eat though. All the food was vegan. Things like bread, tofu salad. I don't even know, man. I wasn't the only one confused, but the guests still dug in. I wasn't a fan though. I confronted my sister and Riley and asked what was up with all the vegan food. They said they wanted to present a different lifestyle to the guests and joked about steering them away from meat. I was pretty disgusted, not gonna lie. That sounded rude. I snapped back and said, if I did the same thing to you guys but with meat, how would you react? Stop being so inconsiderate and learn to cater to your guests. She told me if I had a problem with it, then, the door is to your left and you don't need to look back. I laughed and said there was no way she was kicking me out over calling them out. She shrugged, then walked away. Riley called me entitled and said I ruined what was supposed to be a special day. I sighed and left. That same night, I got a phone call from my dad that my sister was in tears. He told me I should have acted my age and focused on my sister and her new husband, not the food. My mom also texted me that my behavior was shameful and that I wasn't raised to be judgmental of people's life choices. I immediately felt bad. I kept thinking about it. I couldn't sleep at night because I kept replaying the confrontation in my head. I was just sick of all this vegan crap being forced on me, and I was hangry. Am I the jerk? Edit. Wow, I don't eat meat every single day. I was just hungry and in the mood for some that day. And when I saw the food and it was all vegan and it looked like crap, I noped out. Yeah, I could have reacted better, but I'm tired of them always talking about being vegan and telling me I should try it out. You're the jerk. Are you sure you're 30? This post reads like a young teenager wrote it. Your behavior also is more akin to a young teen than a fully grown adult. It's their wedding. They can serve whatever food they please at their wedding. You were also very dismissive of the whole thing before you even got there, acting like some kind of martyr because you deigned to attend your sister's wedding. You couldn't just suck up your crappy attitude for one day. You're the jerk. Vegans and vegetarians cannot eat meat. You made a false equivalency. You serving me this food I don't like is the same as if I served you food you can't eat. Am I the jerk for telling my parents I won't get a part-time job? I'm 16, male. My parents recently have been telling me to start making my own money to pay for unneeded stuff, like expensive clothes and nights out with friends, which, fair enough. They told me to get a traditional part-time job, working at a store or a restaurant, or babysitting or whatever. I decided those sounded time-consuming and boring, so I decided to utilize my good taste in clothes to make money in a more hands-off way. I used money I have already, remnants of birthday money mostly, to go to a thrift store and buy clothes I knew would be in trend right now and then sell them, either online or to people I know, then withdraw some of the money for personal spending and put most back towards buying more stuff. This is optimal because now, as of a month after starting, I'm making pretty good money for very little work. 1 to 2 hours every weekend at the thrift store, then another 1 to 2 hours to pose for photos modeling the clothes and post them online. And even that little amount of work is something I find fun. So all in all, seems better than working longer hours at something I'd find boring for similar pay. My parents are angry because I took what was supposed to be a teachable moment about hard work and just ruined it by finding a way to make money that's not hard work at all. They demand in order for me to learn about hard work, I quit this and get an actual part-time job. I see no logical reason to. As I said, what I have going is quicker and much more enjoyable than a part-time job for similar amounts of money earned. To put it simply, why would I work more hours doing something I like less just for the same amount of money? Sounds irrational, right? They think I'm the jerk and being lazy here. I agree that there's a certain amount of laziness involved, but if my system works, it works. Am I the jerk? I don't think anyone is the jerk here. As a parent, I can see why they would want you to get a more traditional job. Usually side gigs like this aren't great in the long run, and it's hard to stay on top of an ever-turning trend market. A regular part-time job for a teen generally teaches responsibility, how to interact with people, time management, punctuality, etc. I think it's great that you found a way to make money doing something you like. Your teen years are supposed to be the time where you learn who you are, have fun, make memories, etc. My parents wanted me to focus on this and school rather than working. If I wanted money for something that wasn't a necessity, for example, dance tickets, I'd earn it by doing chores around the house, babysitting, etc. It's not irrational. A little lazy, yes. You are doing work and learning responsibility, so I would just try to let it go for now. Everyone sucks here. Your parents told you that you needed to earn your own money, so you did. They don't get to tell you you're doing it wrong simply because you didn't do it the same way that they would. But I'd also implore you to do some reading about what upselling thrifted items is doing to the secondhand industry. You're essentially taking trendy items out of the hands of people who otherwise couldn't afford them. And the influx of people like you is driving up prices at thrift stores and pricing out the people who truly need them. So unfortunately, your money-making scheme is lazy and comes with some real-world consequences. You're the jerk. Thrift stores are there to provide cheap clothes for people, whether for them to find a more sustainable way to shop or for those who need it because they don't have much money. You're taking advantage of that to sell clothes that were donated. Those clothes are meant to be cheap, not resold so you can make money without effort. I've worked at thrift stores since the 2000s. I don't think you're aware of who actually shops there. Yes, there are people who haven't got a lot of money and have no other affordable choices, but they're the minority of thrift shoppers. No one is missing out. Not only has shopping at thrift stores become very trendy for the past several decades, we get a megaton of clothes constantly. It's where you can find amazing stuff from vintage fashion to affordable leather jackets. We get so many clothes that the stuff that doesn't sell within a month gets thrown into a giant bale maker and the bales are sent off to other countries. It breaks my heart because really cool and cute clothes get thrown in and the baler is often brutal and will ruin them. But what can we do? More mountains of clothes are on the way. Thrift stores aren't exclusively for the poor or exist as a charity alone. They are resellers. They have too much cool stuff every month to sell it all. Everyone, please come and get it before I start weeping by the baler again. Karen stops me mid-workout and demands to use the squat rack. This is becoming more and more common at the surrounding gyms, which is really annoying and a reason I've changed gyms more than once this year alone. Working out is a pillar of my everyday life, and it has been for the past 10 years, and I'm at the gym every day of the week. Now, I don't go to the gym to talk to people, make friends, or make funny videos. I go to train and go home. However, now with the new video trends, many folks want to record their exercises to post on social media. This is their business and not mine. They can do whatever they want, but I also don't think I need to stop doing my own workout to accommodate them. Last night I was doing squats on the Smith machine. I work out with headphones and I didn't notice that someone was trying to get my attention. I suddenly felt a tap on my shoulder mid-squat, and only then I noticed a woman with a very annoyed expression. She barely allowed me to finish the movement to start talking, which was muffled due to headphones. Long story short, she was annoyed because I was training on the Smith machine and she wanted to record herself doing regular squats. However, she said the best spot was in front of that Smith machine. There's more than one, and she didn't want me on the frame, so she wanted me to stop my series for her to record. Now, usually if someone comes to me with a good attitude and asks if it's okay for me to stop for a series or two for them to record or even move machines, I would absolutely not mind and comply. This lady did nothing of the sort, being extremely arrogant and honestly extremely annoying. So I was petty and I told her to record once I was done, and I proceeded to do every single exercise I could on the same Smith machine. Squats, Smith. Hip thrust, Smith. It was petty and I know I shouldn't have done it, but I felt very vindicated seeing her annoying expression. That being said, a few people said I was a jerk for doing that, as there were other machines I could have used. Honestly, they might be right, but hey, I thought I'd ask the internet. Was I too much of a jerk here? Not the jerk. First off, who interrupts someone mid-squat? A lot of gyms have a no recording policy where I live. In my last gym, these people just got reported to the fitness manager. Not the jerk. For all those people trying to film themselves in a public place, get over yourselves. We don't care about your 1,327 followers seeing your gains. Stop disrupting public space with your ego. Well, what would you have done in this situation? Would you have gone ahead and moved for her or not? Please let us know. I would have started coughing all over her. It's one of the quickest ways to get people to stop messing with you, especially these days. Huge shout out to our newest subscribers, Blue Skittles, RJ, and Casey. Do this right now. Subscribe to our channel and tick the bell for all notifications, and you could get a shout out in our next video.